Good morning from north of the border. The Toronto Blue Jays are red hot, winners of 10 in a row, and they now have surged into first place in the American League East. In a surprise move to begin the day, Jesse Chavez will make the spot start for Sonny Gray. Chavez will try to slow down a tough Blue Jays team and avoid the sweep. It's the A's and the Jays next. It's a gorgeous day for baseball in Toronto, and the roof is open at the Rogers Center. Jesse Chavez is going to get the task of trying to break the Blue Jays' 10-game winning streak as they are now in first place. So A's trying to avoid a sweep as it's the A's and the Blue Jays coming up on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball along with Ray Fossey. I'm Glenn Kuiper. Sonny Gray was supposed to pitch. Back spasms last night, so he has been scratched. Jesse Chavez will take them on, and Ray, he won his last start, a bounce-back performance by him, and you said he's made some adjustments that really helped in that last start.
You know, the thing about Jesse Chavez, we've seen it throughout his career pitcher for the Athletics, he's very good at making adjustments in game, but he made some mechanical adjustments prior to his last start, and it really helped him out. And as we've talked, and we've seen Bob Melvin, the A's skipper, showing a lot of confidence in his pitchers. He did it with Jesse Chavez. He went 7 innings. Jesse feels so good about himself. He's on his normal turn today, even though Sonny Gray cannot pitch. So from that standpoint, it should be okay.
All right, be ready to hit today if you're an A's hitter. Mark Burley's on the mound. He does not mess around. Gets the ball back, throws it, and he's really good. He has 211 career wins.
And Kipe, with the way this ball club is scoring runs, who wouldn't want to pitch for the Toronto Blue Jays? But he's been good throughout his career. Has a lot of fun. How about that at the Coliseum, going down to take his warm-up tosses? Just a fun-loving guy. He's pitching at Canada. He loves pitching here because this ball club scores runs. He uses both sides of the plate, and that's the misconception because he does not throw hard, yet he will pitch inside to make that outside fastball and that sinker look a lot better for the hitters. So he's a good quality pitcher. You're right, talk fast, because he loves to pitch.
And he is a free agent at the end of this year. Will the Blue Jays sign him? Will he want to keep playing? Who knows? He's 36 years old, but he is still very, very good. So Chavez and Burley, the matchup today in the series finale. And again, the A's try to avoid being swept. A sellout crowd this afternoon here at Rogers Center. Should be fun. A's and Blue Jays coming up.
brought to you by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
So a huge crowd today at Rogers Center in Toronto. In fact, they're telling us it will be a sellout crowd for the final game of this series between the Athletics and the Blue Jays. Blue Jays have won the first 2 games of the series. Jesse Chavez is set. He's ready to go. He will pitch in place of Sonny Gray today. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. Gorgeous day. 71 degrees. Lots of sunshine. The roof is open, and it's all good today in Toronto. Nice day.
Especially if you're a Blue Jays fan.
Well, they are a happy group in first place, thanks to last night's win and the Yankees loss. We'll talk about that as the day goes on. Burns in center. He'll lead things off for the Athletics. And then Canna, Laurie, Valencia, Fegley, Butler, Reddick, Crisp, and Simeon. So a little different look for the A's in their lineup today.
But this is similar. That is Mark Burley pitching for the Blue Jays, a 12-game winner. And the thing that happened in Oakland when he pitched against the A's, he got early run support. And you give him run support, which this ball club is capable of doing, he can just carve you up. And he does not overthrow, does not throw hard. You really have to be patient, think opposite field. And let's hope Billy Burns, when he swings at the first pitch, can be thinking about the opposite field, because it's what he does.
Burley kicks. First pitch is outside. He doesn't walk guys. He will give up some home runs, but he will let you hit it.
Yes, he will. I mean, he's the true example of, I've got guys fielding behind me. I'll let them do their work.
That one lined, and it's fair. Down the third base line, and Burns digging for second, and he will have a double. Looked like it hooked right around the bag and just stayed fair.
Well, Jeff Kellogg is really busy, isn't he? First base, home plate, third base, and he just turned around. I thought it was going to hook foul, but evidently just on the line, just past the third base umpire, and called it, not only called it fair, which it probably wasn't.
Well, the home plate umpire and the third base umpire are now talking about it, and
that's Brian O'Nora, and
they're looking in the Blue Jays dugout
to see if they're going to challenge it. But you saw that black tire ground pop up, and you know, the third base Donaldson looked at it. Yeah, they're going to take a look at it, but you know, watch as it hits and watch what pops up. I mean, if it got any part of it, it's going to be about 1/4 of an inch.
So Jeff Kellogg has had a tough series, and that's not an easy call, but it was right there. He was looking right at it.
Well, and
the question is, did it catch any of the white? I mean, obviously that's what it all boils down to.
And everybody's going to turn around and watch it on the Jumbotron here, and they're going to hear fans oohing and ahhing, and we're going to see all that black pop up as we are right here, and they're going to say that's a foul ball. But back to your point, did it hit just part of the line? Because you can see a little indentation there before he put his foot on the line. There's no white that pops up, it's all black, but it does. I mean, he's looking right down at it, and maybe he saw enough. If they ask him in New York, what did you see? He said, I saw part of the white chalk hit, and they may stay with it even though it didn't pop up.
The ball was in front of the umpire as well
until he turned around.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
landed.
Exactly. That's a good point. You know,
I just don't know that it was clear. I mean, obviously, you see.
And he's looking right down at it. Now, see, you can see just a slight. And remember, this is painted on. It's not chalk, per se. So it is possible that you would not see something pop up. So the second pitch of the game, the guys are on. We're talking to New York.
So right now, it's a leadoff double.
And they could be in New York. And again, we do not know because we never know who's in New York. But Jeff Kellogg could say, even though black came up off of the turf, it hit a part of the white line. It just has to hit any part of it. Now, does it here? We'll see. It's right before it hits. That's a freeze.
So, boy, on that look,
if it goes straight down, it's fair. Foul ball.
They're calling it a foul ball. And they're going to explain it to Bob Melvin. Now, I guess my question was, as I had read the rule, it's if the balls that are past the umpire are reviewable, right. Balls in front of the umpire are non-reviewable.
You know what?
Does that come into play here?
Yeah, and you know what Bob is doing, and rightfully so. He's looking, pointing the dugout. Why did you two umpires look into the dugout? Because maybe there's a question about whether it could be reviewed or not. And to your point, if it's in front, it cannot be.
Because you saw where the ball hit the ground. It was in front of the umpire.
Right, yeah. And surprisingly, for Brian Onora and Jeff Kellogg came halfway and they looked in the dugout to John Gibbons, almost as if to say, are you going to challenge this? And Bob could also be saying it's in front of you, like you said, Ken.
Now that brings into play just where the umpire is positioned.
Right.
That is what one of the things that is brought up, which can and cannot be reviewed. Plays in front of the umpire. Line plays cannot be. So Bob gets his explanation. See where the ball lands, and it's in. I mean, it's well in front of Jeff Kellogg.
Yeah, because he moves out of the way to not be hit.
See where it lands.
Oh, that's a good point.
So it's a foot in front of.
That's a good point, and it's not reviewable. He called it fair, so it should have been fair. And then the surprising thing: why are you looking at the dugout? Why are you looking at the Blue Jays dugout?
It's almost like they were anticipating the Blue Jays wanting it reviewed. So a little bit of a strange start to the ball game. They thought they had a leadoff double. They do not. Things are going the Blue Jays' way.
Yes, they are.
Swing and a miss by Burns. Now it's 2-2. And that one missed inside. Navarro can't believe it.
Well, you have to be careful with Brian Onora because he moves around and looks like he may be going to call the strike and then doesn't. I thought he's going to step out and then throw up his right arm.
And outside, so Burns is aboard. It's not at second base, but it's a leadoff walk.
Now, if he steals second, we'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll be satisfied. Not an easy guy to steal against.
No, he's not.
Defensively, for the Blue Jays behind Burley, Revere in left, Pilar in center, Batista in right, so same outfield. Donaldson, Goins, Pennington, and Smoke on the infield. Deano Navarro is the catcher. So Canna swings at the first pitch and hits it high in the air to center field. And Pilar missed it. And Burns is going to go to second. He'll stop there. You know, it did look like Pilar was fighting it just a little bit, and he just missed it.
Well, the roof is open, and it is a bright sun. And it is just past midday here, and there's your fly ball. There's your sun. You're right. Pilar's got his glove up, but he said, I don't see it. And there comes the left fielder. And the ball did drop right before Revere, but he did put up his arms. And, you know, those sunglasses, see the wraparounds. Got the eye black and the wraparound sunglasses, but they don't shade your eyes that much.
So it looked like he stayed with it, and it finally did come out of the sun, but just too late. So it goes as a hit for Canna.
And normally the center fielder has a better angle, but we don't know about here in Toronto where the sun is positioned. Coliseum, we've seen that. Well, this is a strange game already. At least, fortunately, from the A standpoint, it's favorable.
1-0 to Laurie. And Laurie drives into right field. Batista going back, still going back, still going back. And he caught it and dropped it and crashes into the wall. And everybody moves up 90 feet and the bases will be loaded. The weirdness continues, and we haven't even played 10 minutes yet. Canna and Burns were right next to each other at second base.
Well, Burns did the right thing, and we've talked about this. With nobody out, looks like the ball is going to be caught. You want to get to third base where you can score on a sac fly, less than 2 outs. And if you're on first base, Canna goes halfway, so everything was good there. But the wall knocked the ball out of the glove of Bautista, and then he had trouble picking the ball up, hit it in the heel of the glove there, and then never really had it in the control of his glove, then picked it up. Burns started to go back, started tag, and then to third. Canna stopped. So pinball baseball, first, second, third.
So a walk and 2 singles. Here's Valencia, who hits one to Burley. Burley comes home, out at first.
Unbelievable.
The 0-1-2-3 double play, and now there are 2 outs with runners at second and third.
He went full count to Burns, walking him, then 3 consecutive pitches. Ball lost the sun, ball against the wall. 1-2-3 double play. Yes, things are going exactly the way the Blue Jays want them. I think Danny Valencia, and he's the wrong guy, Burley is, to try to hit a grand slam. It looked like he opened up and hit the ball 9 miles.
Kept it away from him.
Turned the ball over, kept it away, and got the ground ball that he wanted.
So now it's up to Fegley, and the changeup drops outside. Opponents make contact on 24.6% of his pitches, the highest in the majors. It's really an interesting number because you don't really have a reference point, but now you know that number is the highest in the majors. So 1 out of every 4 pitches he throws, contact is made.
So he pitches to contact, which is something that pitchers like to do, and especially Burley because he changes speed so well. And he's pitching around Fegley. He's got a call probably 6 inches off the plate. But I think Josh Fegley is up here with first base open, and Mark Burley might feel more comfortable pitching to Billy Butler, who's in the on-deck circle. I don't know, but the way he threw the 2-0 pitch, it wasn't even close, but he had called a strike.
So 3-1 now to Fegley.
So if they are pitching around him, and Billy Butler can get one of his patented right center field drives and clear the bases. Hayes would like to get something out of this, bases loaded and nobody out.
Strike, now full count. So Burley just keeps going away.
And the only thing he might do here is this changeup is away. 3-1. He may try to sneak a fastball inside, and if he misses it, not be opposed.
Up the middle, off of Burley towards second. Pennington bare hands throws, and they got it. So a very disappointing inning for the A's. They had the bases loaded and nobody out, and they could not score. So Burley walks the tightrope, gets out of the jam. Look at the Blue Jays lineup. A few changes today. Ben Revere is in the leadoff spot. Then Donaldson, Batista, Colabello. Deanna Navarro will catch. Justin Smoke, a couple of switch hitters back-to-back in Navarro and Smoke. And then Pilar, Goins, and Pennington.
Jesse Chavez does make the start. Those high stocks we saw in his last start over the weekend, and he makes the start today in place of Sonny Gray. Jesse, I'm sure, thought he's going to take the mound. Got some run support, but that is not the case. Bases loaded, nobody out. The A's could not score. He did not face Toronto in Oakland, so Jesse gets a chance with the high stirrup socks and the pant legs up high. Worked for him the last start. 7 innings, pitched very well. And tries to do it this afternoon and get the A's a win in this series.
Looking for his 7th win of the year. As he kicks and fires to Ben Revere, and there's a strike. So Troy Tulowitzki getting the afternoon off. Ben Revere slides up to the leadoff spot. He's hit at the bottom of the order last couple games. That one way inside into the backstop.
So there's a two-seam fastball for a strike. Then the cutter tried to go indoors with the cutter and just overthrew it.
Revere is 1 for 7 in this series. Came over from the Phillies at the trade deadline. Part of the handful of moves that the Blue Jays made. Ben Revere started his career with the Twins. And he's going to need a new piece of lumber. So Sonny Gray with back spasms. We understand he started feeling it last night, and obviously not pitching today. Ray, not sure when he's going to pitch. Hayes would love to get him in there, but with back spasms, it's got to wait till you feel better. So we will see.
Well, he missed 2 starts with the salmonella, so he's had some issues this year with the health, but not physical part, like the back.
Double clutch, and that costs Laurie, and Revere's aboard. So Revere with that great speed, and you see the double clutch by Laurie, and it's a base hit.
Well, the fact that Laurie had to go to his right, and even though he's played some second, a little bit of inexperience as well, because he's having to go to his right. That's some play that at third base he does not. He'll be going to his left there, to his right at second base. Strong arm that he does have, but still not enough to get the speed of Revere.
So here's Donaldson. First pitch strike. So to finish up on Sonny Gray, Ray, Jesse Chavez was scheduled to pitch tomorrow in Baltimore. So I don't know that tomorrow's an option for Sonny Gray either. So
well, you always wonder what
you don't know when you can slot him in, and you want to do it as quick as possible.
Exactly. That pitcher named TBA, you know, he's got a pretty good record, so we'll see how he does tomorrow.
So there'll be decisions, because does TBA mean it becomes a reliever who starts, or does TBA mean you go get somebody from the minor league? So the A's will have some decisions to make today to see who starts tomorrow.
Well, and that's if I would assume it's going to be tough for Sonny Gray with back spasms today to get on a plane, fly to Baltimore after going through customs, and be able to say, yeah, I can pitch tomorrow. I don't think he can say that tonight or today.
Nice block by Figley. And back spasms kind of have a mind of their own.
Yes.
They're very uncomfortable for a while. They do go away, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time for those muscles to release a little bit. Remember here a couple of years ago, Derek Norris got him, and Derek Norris
couldn't walk.
We were watching him play, and an hour later, he could hardly walk through the clubhouse.
And try to get on the bus, he had to be helped.
He had to be helped up. Yeah. And 5-6 days later, he was okay.
Yeah. Well, the players had their kind of a meeting yesterday at the hotel, Players Association meeting, and Sonny is the alternate player rep with Sean Doolittle, the player rep, not here. So he walked through the lobby. He was fine. So it happened last night sometime between when he got to the park and after the game, to the point they had to make the announcement.
Strike 3 call. Then a good pitch by Jesse Chavez to get Donaldson. So 1 away here in the bottom of the first. A's defense has Crisp in left, Burns in center, Reddick in right, Valencia and Simeon on the left side, Laurie and Canna on the right side, Fegley is your catcher. So Stephen Vogt getting the afternoon off. A's have 4 left-handed hitters on their bench: Davis, Fold, Vogt, and Sogar.
Stephen Vogt caught last night, did a remarkable job considering Aaron Brooks did not have his best stuff. And Stephen said after the game, and I think we felt the same way, but the A's came back and scored 2 in the second inning against Ari Dickey. Thought they had a chance, and Stephen Vogt said if get through the second inning without giving up runs to the Blue Jays, Stephen said I think the A's win the ball game. That's how confident he was that their ball club knew that Ari Dickey did not have his best stuff. Stephen hit a bolt to right center for a double, but after they scored the 7 in the second inning, it was just a tough comeback at that point, especially against a hot club.
Checks his swing, does Batista. So the count 2-1. Batista's 3 for 8 with a home run in this series. And now 3-1 with Colabello, the guy who's had the best series of anybody in the on-deck circle.
Batista showing the normal aggressiveness, but also patience with the pitch out of the strike zone.
Hits it hard. Simeon has it out at second, and that's a double play. A smash, and Simeon hung with it. And Laurie turned the double play. So 6-4-3, and that will do it for the Blue Jays in the first. Is brought to you by Black Bear Diner. Feed your inner bear. Nice look outside Rogers Center. Huge structure. All right, that gentleman's got it going on.
Got his Jays uniform on.
Well, to say that the city of Toronto is into the Blue Jays right now would be an understatement. They are a first place team. They won last night, obviously, and the Yankees lost again 2-1 to the Indians, and that put the Blue Jays in first place by a half a game. And they have, I don't want to say come out of nowhere, but they've been on quite a stretch. Pilar goes into a slide, makes the catch. So 1 away. So this is the run the Blue Jays have made. On July 29th, check out the standings. July 29th is not that long ago, folks. I mean, that's trade deadline. Blue Jays were a game under 500 and 8 games behind the Yankees. Today, they're a half game up. And what is the date today? August 13th. So it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks exactly. And that's what winning 10 in a row will do. And the team losing 5 in a row that you're chasing, and especially going head to head, that's 6 games.
That's right.
sweeping the Yankees, and they have them coming in tomorrow night.
The Jays at the end of the month of May were 23-29. But then they had a big month of June. They went 18-9. Remember, they had an 11-game winning streak in that month. Off the glove of a diving Donaldson, and it'll be a base hit for Reddick. So he gets another hit the other way. Donaldson got a glove on it.
Yes, he did. He also hit the ground hard. Maybe broke his sunglasses, but positioned really perfectly. Although, if the shortstop had been exactly in his position, he would have been perfectly positioned. But Donaldson, good effort, could not come up with it. So that's a good break for Josh Reddick. Troy Tulowitzki. See, he does not have the eye black under his eyes, and this is a sunny day. Now, I asked him, Kite. He said, now you're wearing it at nighttime. I said, it's all style.
Yeah. At least he's honest.
Yes, he was.
Coco with a base hit. Reddick's going to try for third. He will make it as the throw comes into second base. So Coco crisp with a line drive single. So first and third.
Yep. That's what the team has done since Tulowitzki was acquired.
And that was the July 29th date that we showed you.
That's
when
right.
They were 50-51. So they've gone 13-1 when Tulowitzki has been here. And the one loss, he was not in the starting lineup. He pinch hit in that game. So I wouldn't say that Tulowitzki's gone crazy with the numbers, but talk about a presence.
Well, that's the key, the presence, and they've had Donaldson all season. And the Blue Jays, especially their manager John Gibbons, has raved about Josh Donaldson and kind of changing the culture of their clubhouse. Said, we've had a good team, but we've never had a leader in the clubhouse who's been as vocal. And we know, being around Josh Donaldson, and he can have fun, he can get serious. And there have been some comments that have been made, and he made one supposedly to Jose Reyes. He said, don't complain, just do the job. Flat out told him.
You're going to argue with the
guy?
I mean,
Exactly.
he's right.
And he's right.
I always have a lot of respect for a guy who's not afraid to say something that may not be popular, but may be the truth.
The truth, and especially with a new ball club. A lot of times players come in and they just, just be quiet until I get established. JD.
Not his style.
No, it never was, never will be, and he's really changed everything with this ball club.
And he plays hard every day.
Yep. Rubbing his right shoulder. He might have fallen on it, jammed his right elbow into this turf when he tried to make the catch, and a lot of times that can radiate up into the shoulder area.
1-2. Burley has a terrific move to first. That was not it.
And meanwhile, with Josh Reddick going first to third on the base hit to left field, that's important because one out. And of course, the A's trying to score a run after having the bases loaded in the first inning, not scoring. He's got the good left-handed move, and see the numbers throughout his career. But Marcus Semien just trying to put the ball in play, especially the outfield, and get a run in.
So you probably know the answer. I know it. I'm just quizzing you. Who has the most pickoffs in Major League history?
Most pickoffs in history? Got it?
Yep. Good call. See, I knew you would know. If I wasn't sure that you had known, I wouldn't have put you on the spot. See, I knew that you would.
Well, you said a Major League history. That you're really doing something, George. George knows.
I just knew that you would have a pretty good idea.
Well, you know, there was a pitcher by the name of Jimmy Key who pitched for the Blue Jays. Yeah. He could freeze a run at first base as well as anybody. And of course, I mentioned Andy Pettitte could do that as well. But Jimmy Key was more of lifting that front foot and holding it. And talk about balance on one leg. And if you moved at all, he could go either direction. And if you took off to second, he'd pick you off. Otherwise, throw to the plate after you froze you at first.
That may be the best weapon of all to have, to be able to freeze a run.
That's right.
Strike three called on the outside corner. Burley painted the outside corner. And it looks like Brian O'Neill has a pretty good pitcher strike zone today. And you know what? The hitters need to know that. Be ready.
Well, the Fegley strike. We're definitely outside on the 2-0 called strike, and then this change up and Navarro with the outside corner, and basically what Brian Honora is saying, I'm going to call him, you better swing the bat. I mean, we've said it over and over, but that's what an umpire will do early in the game.
So now 2 outs for Burns. A little bit inside to Burns. Our very fine producer Delaire Lures just mentioned the name of Greg Smith.
Right.
Remember Greg Smith had a great
great
kickoff.
move. Yeah.
Pitch for the A's for what, just a year, I believe.
Right, traded to the Rockies with Carlos Gonzalez
right.
and Houston Street for Matt Holliday.
Burns to right center. Pilar is over there and makes the catch. So another opportunity missed by the Athletics. They had first and third and 1 out and could not score. No scores to go bottom of the second. Is brought to you by PG&E, together building a better California. They're out today. Ray Fosse's up there. Actually, we taped this yesterday during the day, and Ray is the second from the left.
Now just realize people actually pay money to do that. They don't get paid, they pay. And let's go from the bottom and look up and just see how far they are suspended out over that structure.
So you would not pay to do that. You would need to be paid.
You couldn't pay me enough money to do that. I'm sorry. No, that's that. Come on, go to the bottom of it.
It's like 40 feet up, Ray. You'd be fine.
Yeah, 40 feet.
You'd be fine. It's like maybe
4,000 feet. I've taken the elevator. Elevator takes 5 minutes to get up to the top of that. You know, they have a great shot upstairs where they do like a video speed. Yeah, here's the elevator.
So what, you'd be okay in that?
Well, yeah, but look how long it takes to get up there. And that's going nonstop. 1 minute. Thank you, George. You got all the stats. But look how high that is.
That's about as high as the upper deck here. Not quite. It is a steep upper deck. Wow. You're right. I'm not a big heights guy either. I don't have a big desire to go up there, because would you enjoy being up there if you're uncomfortable with heights? But those people are hanging off the edge.
But the video they have, have you ever been up the top? If you go up there, there's a video that shows CN Tower being built, and it's like fast. You know how they speed it up? And they built that thing in about 2 minutes. Yeah, it's so high here. There are the railings in front of each row that you kind of lean on. And if you're going down the stairs, you're holding on for dear life.
3-2 to Colabello.
There they are. Probably the only stadium I've ever seen that actually has a rail in front of every row in the upper deck.
And it is needed.
Good cutter by Jesse Chavez on a 3-1. See if he does it again on 3-2.
Yep. And it was a good pitch, and Colabello strikes out. So second strikeout for Jesse Chavez.
And the one thing that Jesse has done, watch how he throws his pitch. Look at his mechanics, over the top and down. What happens at times that a pitcher kind of rotates, the pitches stay up. And that's what Jesse was doing. Now he's more on top, throwing down, playing, instead of just turning with the midsection, elevating his pitches. We saw Puig hit that hanging cutter, crushed it in Los Angeles. Difference with Colabella, he's down in the zone and a strikeout.
First pitch to Deoner Navarro, the switch hitting backup catcher, is a strike. Our first look at Navarro in this series. 220, 3 homers, 17 RBIs. Wasn't that long ago that Deoner Navarro was the regular catcher for Tampa Bay Rays.
And he was the catcher when Dallas Braden in Mother's Day in 2010 pitched the perfect game. Now he was catching every day for Joe Madden with the Rays.
And he hits that one into center field for a base hit. And Navarro last year was the Blue Jays regular catcher. He had nearly 500 at bats, but not anymore with Russell Martin.
He's in a perfect place. He could catch for at least 5 years as Martin's backup catcher. And
switch hitter.
Day games after night games, and had to give a long tenure as a catcher. And good backup catchers are always good. I always thought Landon Powell was one of the best because he didn't catch that much, but when he did, he was excellent. He caught Dallas Braden's perfect game. Zook was on the disabled list.
And that one is ripped down the right field line, headed for the corner. One hops the wall, and Smoke is going to have a long single. Navarro goes to third. Justin Smoke has had some good swings in this series.
Well, you change teams at Rangers to the Mariners and now to the Blue Jays, and that fastball, he opened up the hips, turned on it, and hit it so hard. And Josh Reddick with his strong arm, and Smoke knows it. With Navarro going to third easily, but the fact that Smoke had to stop at first, if Jesse Chavez can get Pilar to hit a ground ball, maybe get a double play, and that could be an important play. When Reddick went to third on the base hit by Crisp, unfortunately he could not score, so similar situation for the Jays.
So Pilar steps in. He's 2 for 7 in this series. Overall hitting .260 with 7 home runs, 39 RBIs as the everyday center fielder now for the Blue Jays. First pitch in for a strike. So the A's have had a couple of opportunities that you could not cash in on, and for the Blue Jays, this is their first scoring opportunity. Fouled back.
Now Bautista with the runner at first hit a hard shot to shortstop that resulted in a double play. A's would like to do the same thing. If you want to hear something and see something, listen and watch. But you need to have a strong neck as a catcher. Wear the helmet, protect the head, a lot of padding on your mask, and have a strong neck, because you take bolts like that, your neck has to be strong.
Not a lot of speed on the bases. Smoke with a short lead at first. Pilar is able to lay off that pitch way outside. 1-2 the count. Ryan Goins, a left-handed hitter, waits in the on-deck circle.
And the speed actually is the hitter, and so that could be a negative for the A's because of Pilar's speed. It has to be hit right at somebody. That's A's infield playing halfway.
Inside, almost hit him.
Navarro doesn't run that well, so the middle infielders, of course, if the corner's playing even the bags, but middle infielders playing in at Cutter. See that when he got under a little bit and pushed the ball, and as a result stayed inside. The same pitch that he threw to Colabella.
And that one's lined to right, and that's a base hit. So Navarro comes in to score, and the Blue Jays lead 1-0. So a fastball out over the plate, and Pilar just went with it. 3 straight hits, and that produces a run for the Blue Jays.
Colabella last night hit a 3-run home run, then a base hit to right field. And look at Pilar here with a pitch that was away, trying to bring the two-seam fastball back on the outside corner, and Pilar went with it perfectly, and that's just good hitting. 2-strike hitting, good hitting, and that's when you tip your hat to the hitter. Navarro went to third on the base hit, scores easily.
So here's Ryan Goins. So as a former catcher, Ray, here's a question for you. So if you see the hitter Pilar, and maybe it's more of a hitter's thought process, but that pitch was way inside, missed off the plate. Does he then think, you know what? He's not going to try to throw inside again because he missed badly, and then just look away.
Yeah, they usually, if a pitcher throws inside, a lot of times it's a purpose pitch to set up that pitch right there to go outside. And you're right. And good hitters will think that way. And you know, Jesse Chavez was trying to strike out Pilar with the fastball, and it just ran in too much. But maybe the way he was thinking that he's going to go outside, maybe with a cutter, slider, that fastball, he did, and he stayed with it instead of opening up.
It just seems like a lot of times, if as far as a hitter goes, if they see a pitcher miss badly somewhere on the pitch before, just look exact opposite on the next.
Exactly. Now we mentioned about Burley. Burley throws at 86, so he's not really overpowering, and he has to pitch inside to make the outside pitch more effective for him. Change up, fastball, sinker, whatever outside. So he probably will not try to get a strike inside.
1-2 to Goins. 224 with 3 home runs. Goins playing shortstop today. He's 0 for 5 in the series.
And Pennington, a shortstop, playing second. So what you talked about, Revere as a leadoff hitter, hit ninth, now hitting leadoff. And Pennington played second for the Athletics towards the end of his time with the A's. Went to Arizona, and now playing second today.
And that one's hit high and deep. Right field. Let it back. 4-0 Blue Jays. Straight game the Blue Jays have homered, and that is their specialty.
Well, he went out of the strike zone with a 2-strike pitch and hit it that deep. And that's just a matter of looking for and getting your pitch, and ready to jump, but he had no chance. That's the 8th place hitter.
Yeah, I was just thinking that 8th place hitter with a 3-run homer. That's the Blue Jays' 4th home run in this series. They've also banged out 6 doubles. So that lineup is a handful right now. And today, Tulowitzki's out, and Encarnacion has been out the whole series. So it's really not even at full strength.
Okay, second inning again. 3, 1 earned on Tuesday.
That's right. 7
last night, 4 this half. He's not over. Jesse's 3 hits in this inning, coming with 2 strikes on the hitter. That's frustrating for a pitcher.
2-0 to Pennington. And there's different characteristics for a team that's hot. And one of them is they always seem to score first.
Yeah.
Pennington rolls it foul. You know, jump out ahead, get the crowd into it.
Yeah.
Now, on Tuesday, the A's actually scored in the first inning to take a 1-0 lead. But the Blue Jays came back with 3 in the second, like Ray just said. So the A's did have a brief lead early in the game. Pennington strikes out. So 3 strikeouts for Chavez, and now to the top of the order in Ben Revere. Ben Revere singled and then was wiped out on the double play in the first inning. Outside corner strike.
A's themselves could have blown this game out in the first inning. Bases loaded, nobody out, didn't score, and now with no runs on the board for the A's, 2 opportunities the first 2 innings, or opportunities in the first 2 innings, with no, and then they come up with 4 in this half inning. The Blue Jays do. So that's, in reality, they are a hot club. They feel they can do no wrong, and the way the A's have seen them, similar to last year when the A's came in the first series and the Blue Jays were running all over the place.
That's right.
They came to Oakland, were swept there.
So Revere strikes out, and when it's all said and done, it's a 4 spot for the Blue Jays. Ryan Goins with a 3-run homer. Tahoe South. Join Team Summer at TahoeSouth.com. It'd be like Tahoe right there. It's Lake Ontario. Beautiful day here in Toronto. A's will head to Baltimore after the game to start a 4-game series with the Orioles. Supposed to be steamy hot in Baltimore. Yeah. I think the last 5 years that we've been to Baltimore, it's been in the 90s and humid.
If you go in August, you get a pretty good chance that's going to happen. Yeah. Do you see the number of innings that Burley has had runs scored for him? 57.
Yeah, that's the highest. That's the highest number we've seen this year, I think.
Mr. Jeff, see that one game I'll never forget. About halfway through season 5.
Burley, 57. 1-1 to Canna, who singled in the first. Canna lines it foul.
Fair ball. Review it.
The run support for Burley, 7.2 average per game, third best in the majors, and he's got a very good record of 12-5. He's got a good ERA too, 3.34 coming in.
Hutchinson, Tuesday starter, 8+ run support. Burley, game 3 starter, 7+.
To right field, Bautista hustling back, and he gets there and makes the play. So one away here in the third. Tim Hudson leads all active pitchers in wins with 220. Cologne, Sabathia, and then Burley at 211.
Yeah, there's a good shot of the circle chain. See how the index finger and thumb kind of forming a circle. Got the 3 fingers. That's the changeup. We always talk about the circle. That's how you're forming a circle with the index and thumb. And he throws it very well.
You and I chatted before the game a little bit about the future of Mark Burley. He is a free agent at the end of this year. He signed a 4-year contract with the Marlins to leave the White Sox, and he played 1 year in Florida and then that big trade that brought him up here. So his 3rd year in Toronto, but a free agent at the end of this year. And I said, well, you know, I said, do you think the Blue Jays will bring him back? And your comment was, well, maybe if he's ready to retire, who knows?
Evidently he's been beaten up a little bit. He's got a big farm outside of St. Louis. There's always been the rumor about wanting to go back to St. Louis to pitch there because his family evidently does not come to Toronto that much. They have some animals that one of them in particular is not allowed in Toronto, this area.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, and so that was a real bummer for him to be traded here initially. and that was the big subject matter. But you know, he could shut it down. He's had some huge contracts, and that enables players in today's world to be able to say, had enough. And
he's made a lot of money.
Yes, he has.
But he's 36 years old, so you know it's not early 40s where he's done. I mean, he could pitch for a while yet. I think if he wanted to.
He's pitching 6 to 7 innings per game. He gets run support. He amasses wins, and now he's playing for a winner. And that all could lead into the Blue Jays overwhelming him with a contract, and decides to come back.
Well, he's gone 14 consecutive years of 200 or more innings. I mean, that's unbelievable. And you saw the note, he's never been on the disabled list. It all certainly goes hand in hand. But for a pitcher to be in his 15th season and to have never been on the disabled list, that is truly remarkable.
And it goes to show you that you don't have to break the radar gun to pitch effectively at the major league level. And you're throwing out and topping out at 86 miles per hour. It's saying a lot about your ability to throw with control.
Goins has it, flips it across. Valencia is retired, and so are the A's. 3 up, 3 down inning for Burley. We're going to the bottom of the third. Donaldson to lead it off. 4-0 Blue Jays.
With your very own Striped Socks backpack, and of course that will be great for school. Presented by Chevron Techron Advantage Credit Card. On Monday, September the 7th, 15,000 fans will receive the stylish backpack modeled after the preferred footwear of Sonny and Sogi. Sonny and Sogard. Get your Labor Day tickets now at athletics.com/tickets. You can call 877-493-BALL. We'll see you at the Coliseum. Some interesting games remaining at the Coliseum, home games. Rest of August and September, because the Dodgers in town next Tuesday and Wednesday. The Big Mac bobblehead on the Tuesday night. Clayton Kershaw pitching. And that must mean Sonny Gray might not pitch Tuesday night. Huh? Well, he was scheduled. That would have been his 5th day. So regardless,
I guess the only chance you would have of that matchup is if Sonny does not pitch until then. And
exactly.
I think the A's would love to. Again, we don't know. Who knows with Sonny and the back issue? It could linger for a couple days. One and one to Donaldson. Donaldson struck out looking his first at bat. Batista to follow, then Colabello. Good pitch, little cut fastball right on the outside corner. pretty good velocity, 90 miles an hour.
And when he makes that pitch, as he did to Colabello, and that perfectly thrown to Donaldson, you just know that he's very close to being consistent with that pitch and not elevating as he did to Smoke and to Goins.
And there it was again. Again 90 miles an hour, and Donaldson chased it, so 5 strikeouts for Jesse Chavez.
This would give up all the strikeouts for the ball back that Goins hit. Great cutter. He had a season and career high 11. And Donaldson, no chance on that pitch running away from him.
So 1 away for Batista, who hit into a 6-4-3 double play his first at bat. First pitch, very close, called the ball. Throws the cutter 38% of the time, most in the majors. Bautista 3 for 9 in this series so far. And there it is. Good pitch there. And now 2-2.
Looking away, and the ball backed up on him.
So I guess this is my point here, Ray. Now Batista saw a pitch on the inside corner. Is he thinking, well, he's going to come in there again? He's probably looking outside, but either way, Jesse Chavez gets him.
I don't know if a hitter at times can see a pitch back up because they see the spin and it backs up on them, which that one did. But in fact, it did go back outside, and I think with a cut fastball, Jesse is eventually going to be able to throw the cut fastball inside the right-handers, the front door, and that's really going to fool him. And it's a specialty pitch for him, but not like the great Mariano Rivera. That's all he threw.
2 outs for Colabello. There it is again. And Colabello swings and misses, so he's going to go for a little walk. He struck out swinging in the second inning. Blue Jays with a 4 spot in the second for the 4-0 lead. No swing.
Came close.
Certainly could have been a swing.
Yes, it could have.
Isn't it funny? The guy with the best swings in the first 2 games of this series has been Colabello, 5 for 8. Right. But in this game, he has not looked as good.
Right.
Jesse's made some good pitches to him.
And that's a good pitches. Last night he got a 2-0 fastball. His first at bat, 3-run home run. Fastball away next at bat, goes to right field for a base hit. There's your front door cut.
Yep.
It's the 2-0 fastball last night from Aaron Brooks, and it was no doubt. Great Tom Cheek off of his name up on the circle of exits.
Canna cannot quite get it. Sound like a broken bat. Colabello's checking it. It's not Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire territory, but Manny Ramirez went up there in that 5th deck.
The Colabello's was line drive.
Yeah.
Might have put a dent in it. That 43-06 for the late Tom Cheek. That's the number of consecutive games broadcast by the voice of the Blue Jays in the World Championships back-to-back, along with Jerry Howarth out of San Francisco, USF, and Hastings College.
Canna may have a play on this one, and he does, right in front of the seats. So Jesse Chavez has retired 5 in a row, and we're on to the 4th inning. It's 4-0 Toronto.
Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, statcast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or your tablet.
Fegley to lead it off here in the 4th inning. A's trailing 4-0. Burley's allowed 4 hits. With the A's stranded 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd. And then Burley had a 3-up, 3-down inning in the 3rd. He's walked 1, struck out 1 so far. Burley will cover. Smoke flips it to Burley. So that's out number 1. Or Scribber right off the end of the bat. Well, that'll drive a hitter crazy. You know he's throwing the changeup, especially a right-handed hitter, and you
can't wait long enough.
And he keeps it away. And you know that the umpire's given the outside corner some, so you probably feel like you got to swing at it.
Navarro, like you see catchers do what he just did, walked about halfway to the mound, give Burley a little bit of extra time to catch his breath, and Burley probably said, I don't need it. I like to work fast. I want to get out of here. And you think about last night, you saw R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer. Guys had to wait. Now they have to wait again today for Mark Burley. More of a conventional pitcher, but similar in a sense he doesn't throw hard. Maybe the knuckleball thrown by Rick, it might have been thrown harder last night by R.A. Dickey than the fastball today by Burley. Get the same results.
So 3-1 now to Butler.
He brawled Brett Lawrie's socks.
Yes, he did. And it's a walk. So a 1-out base runner. It's Butler for the A's.
Have I talked to R.A. Dickey, and I asked him as we talked last night about Russell Martin with the catcher's mitt on the ground, and he said the glove is so heavy, he just puts it down there. Instead of holding it up.
Make,
yeah.
Right? I mean,
and I said, well, what a target. He says, I throw 2 baseballs above the head. He said, I don't even look at the catcher's mitt. But he said Martin is done. He said spring training he had no chance to catch him.
Wow.
And because Josh Tolley was his catcher, but he said Martin tried. He said he was terrible. And he said he's gotten better and better, and he has improved. Do you know, I'm thinking last night too, the ulnar collateral ligament, he was born without one. R.A. Dickey was. And they were supposed to said he couldn't turn a door handle without hurting. He said it's never bothered him. But that's when the Rangers were going to give him like $800,000. They dropped it to $75,000.
Yeah.
And became a knuckleball pitcher. And
that's right. He was a #1 draft pick for the Rangers, right?
And the doctor noticed the arm hanging a little bit differently and found out he does not have a UCL. And
can't tear what you don't have.
That's right. Dropped it down to $75,000. But as a Cy Young Award winner, he's in that category that ends with an L.
They should have given him more, right?
Exactly. The way he's pitched.
Eliminate possible injury.
That's right. Yeah, you can't have Tommy John surgery if you don't have it to tear.
Coco takes a ball. Got a base hit. How about that note? First hit on the road in 36 at-bats. It goes to last year for Coco Crisp. And he lined the single to left field. Coco trying to get rolling.
Some stats you just can't hide, can you?
No, that's. He's 7 for 70 now as Coco this year. He's got the pant legs pulled up high today. Rips that one into the seats, and the count now 2-1. Not that ball players are superstitious or anything, but if they're struggling, change things up. Down the right field line, but it'll go into the first row of seats and then onto the field. So 2-2 the count. Smoke not holding Butler on. He's playing in front of Butler, actually. Strike 3 called inside corner. Coco knew it. Second strikeout for Burley, and that ends the top of the fourth. Bottom of the fourth coming up. Blue Jays lead the A's 4-0.
Dealing again, except for one bad pitch. Good strikeout pitches that he has thrown. 3 on the cutter of the 5 for Jesse Chavez, and against San Diego, 11. He's back on the June 16th against the Padres. The Coliseum struck out 11. That's a career best for him.
Deanna Navarro leading it off. He got that second inning started with a 1-out single. Smoke to follow, and then Pilar. First place, Astros are off today and off the road. They were on the long road trip, but they are now home for a long homestand, and they're excited about that. Astros will host the Tigers tomorrow night. 10-game homestand. Tigers, Rays, and Dodgers for the first place Astros, who have a 2-game lead over the Angels.
How did the Angels game end up last night? It was another extra inning in Chicago.
Lost 3-2 and 12.
Well, I guess I watched it for 11.
Yeah. I didn't see it till this morning, the final score. Good pitch, 2-2. Angels have lost 4 out of their last 5, and they are in Kansas City to start a 4-game series tonight. So Angels struggling some. The Angels in their last 19 games, 5-14.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah,
it really is hard to believe.
They had started to play good baseball, and then they've taken a step back the last 3 weeks. So they have the 2-game deficit to the Astros in the Western Division of the American League. Swing and a miss. Another strikeout for Jesse Chavez. Give him 6.
Good curveball this time with Navarro, and good to see him strike him out. Threw him a fastball with 2 strikes, and he singled up the middle. This time a good curveball. Threw it hard, and that's the key. He threw it hard, and Navarro, no adjustment, swung through it, no contact.
One out for Smoke. Smoke lined to single to right. Actually hit it off the wall, but was held to a single. Central Division, the Royals with a huge lead. They have an 11-game lead over the Twins. So they're just rolling along.
Thought Ned Yost's comment, which is true, that you can play for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And so they're thinking about that as well, even though they have a big lead. The way they're playing, they will avoid the play-in game, which they were the first wild card last year. And we knew what happened, or know what happened after that. But if they won the division, that would be guaranteed at least a 5-game series against somebody. As a home field, the best record, it would be against the wild card participant, I guess, the way it would turn out.
Yeah, the Royals, by a pretty large margin, have the best record in the American League right now. The Blue Jays have the second best record. So 3-2 now to Smoke. Curve, did he go around? Yes, he did.
How about that? 5 fastballs and then the curveball. Smoker saying, I'm going to hit a ball up on the restaurants with this fastball. Oh no, it's a curve, and he committed, and a great pitch by Jesse to get the strikeout on the curveball. That's just a hitter guessing fastball, didn't get it, could not adjust quickly enough to stop his swing.
So 2 away for Pilar. First pitch off the plate to Pilar. He had an RBI single to right field, and then he scored on the Goins home run. Ball had some spin on it, but Canna stays with it. Pilar's retired, and that's 8 in a row retired by Jesse Chavez. So 5th inning coming up. A's down 4-0.
Former A's players for the 2016 Oakland Athletics Fantasy Camp, held from January the 15th to the 21st at the A's new spring training facility in Mesa, Arizona. Get out of the stands, onto the field, create lasting memories with former A's greats. For more details, go to hendersonbaseball.com, or you can call 509-993-7338.
Simeon leading it off against Burley. Drives one to center. Pilar's right there, 1 away.
That's a classic example of a swing of a hitter having to provide his own power.
Yep.
Slow curveball after first pitch strike, and Marcus tried to stay back, was out on the front foot, and it was just really all upper body swing and did not travel that far.
So 1 away, and the leadoff man Burns steps in, who has walked and hit a fly ball to center field. 3 for 9 in the series. Off the foot of Burns. Burns still leads all American League rookies in hits and total bases. He's 3rd in runs. Leads in stolen bases. So he's still in the running for American League Rookie of the Year. If he can have a strong final month and a half, he's got a decent chance. Pitch breaks inside. Batista in and over a little bit. 2-0. And that'll bring up Canna. .63 pitches for Burley, so the pitch count not bad. Canna, another rookie. His 36 RBIs, second among rookies in the American League.
Yeah, it's amazing. You think about it, the rookies, and you don't really consider Mark Canna in that category, but he is. And I Rule 5, and it's one of the best Rule 5 players we've seen, at least from the athletic standpoint. One of them was in the house we showed last night, George Bell, Rule 5 from the Philadelphia Phillies.
That one bounced foul down the third base line, jumps into the seats. Big crowd today. We were told it was a sellout. A lot of kids in the house.
Yep, camp day. So
it's very busy around this ballpark. It's downtown near the water. But it is a busy, busy place when there's big crowds. We've been here on these camp days where there's just literally bus after bus after bus lined up, and it's each group of kids has some bus. It's not uncommon to see 40-50 buses lined up outside, but it is very, very busy around Rogers Center. Canna hits it hard, but right at second. Pennington scoops it up, side retired. 3 up, 3 down inning for Burley. Bottom of the 5th coming up. Goins, Pennington, and Bravery are scheduled to hit. 4-0 Toronto. Casino Matrix, Silicon Valley's premier 24/7 entertainment destination. So the Blue Jays with a 4-0 lead over the Athletics. Jays are looking for their 11th consecutive win. A's do not want to be swept out of Toronto. They have work to do for the Athletics. Trailing by 4 is Ryan Goins. Cliff Pennington and Ben Revere are scheduled to hit against Jesse Chavez. Goins the big hit in the game, a 3-run homer in the second inning. Jesse Chavez has indeed settled down. In fact, that home run, the last hit that he allowed.
It's almost like Jesse's pitching with the attitude, everything to gain, nothing to lose, and he's just rapid fire, and of course working with Birdie on the other side, also working quickly. And Jesse, like Birdie, stands on the mound waiting for the hitter to get in the box. It's too bad you think the whole game and for the next 4 days about one bad pitch, and really the pitch to Goins was not that bad. It was a fastball out of the strike zone, but went for a 3-run home run.
And that one right on the outside corner, strike 3 call. So another good pitch by Chavez. He's got 8 strikeouts.
Now the outside corner, and the mechanics perfect. Right on top. Not elevating as he did to Goins in the first at bat, and nothing to complain about that one. Although Goins, I think, complained.
So 9 in a row retired by Jesse.
Jesse Chavez, you mentioned a former Blue Jay. The A's acquired him from Toronto. That's right. And when he was acquired in late 2012, for cash considerations, there was this, oh well, just a body, because it really came in games that were either blowouts one way or the other. And then, as we talked about, the game in 13 against the Yankees at 5+ innings in an 18-inning game, and all of a sudden he's been in the rotation last year and this year for the Athletics. He's come a long way, several teams, a lot of years in professional baseball, but it seems like he's found a home with the Athletics.
Oh, 2 pitch, swing and a miss on a pitch in the dirt, throw to first, and that's strikeout number 9.
Got the one thing he's still using his cutter, but it looks like the curveball is being used more. Good fastball, but the curveball comes out of his hand, thrown hard in the dirt with Pennington. Nice block by Fegley, and a put out 2-3.
And now to the top of the order in Ben Revere. Jesse Chavez spent most of that 2012 season in AAA with the Jays, but did make a couple starts for them. But then the A's got him in the trade in August of that year. And you're right, we really didn't think anything of it at the time. Didn't know much about him. Knew he had bounced around quite a bit.
And as the A's seem to do, they gave Jesse Chavez a chance. They give players chances to play and pitch, and things work out well. And that's one thing you say about the organization. You take guys that other clubs don't seem to want, they turn out to be very good, and Jesse definitely that category.
Make it his 21st start today, and he's been a starter quite a bit with the A's, and he's done a good job. I think he would be a very good reliever.
Absolutely.
And I'm not talking about a long reliever.
Yeah.
This one is going to go foul as it was fair, and then it took a sharp right-hand turn.
Yes, he had 21 last year, and that's when, after his 21st start, the A's made several pitching acquisitions, and he moved to the bullpen. But I think he could be a closer. He could be a closer.
I think he could too,
because he has good pitches. He's strong, throws hard, but his versatility started the season in the bullpen, and then when Jesse Hahn went down with a finger injury, stepped in the rotation. Has been there ever since. Of course, with Parker having a setback with his right elbow, he's progressing though. It's good to hear.
Well, he's got good control. He doesn't really walk a lot of guys, and he can strike you out. He has pitches to do that. Laurie dives, kicks off his glove. He cannot grab it, and it'll be a hit for Revere.
2 hits for Revere, both hit to second base. Laurie double clutched the first one. This one, nice dive, and had he caught it, they might have thrown him out, even with the speed of Revere. But Laurie playing second base, having to move a lot of different directions, and again, for him to go to his right, unlike at third when he went to his left or goes to his left a lot, has to be totally different, especially playing in that position during the season.
So Donaldson hits with 2 outs. Keep an eye on Revere. He's a very good base stealer. Just a bit outside. Revere stole 49 bases last year with the Phillies. A couple 40 steal seasons. Good swing by Donaldson, fouled right side. Donaldson has struck out twice. Looking in the first inning, swinging in the third. So he's 2 for 10 in the series. Rounds that one in the hole. Throw to second by Simeon, and they just get Revere on a close play. Side retired. So Jesse Chavez has settled in nicely as the Blue Jays take a 4-0 lead as we head to the 6th. A 4-0 lead over the A's. 0-4-0 for the A's, 4-6-0 for the Blue Jays. Burley has retired 11 of the last 12 hitters he has faced. The only runner was a Butler walk. Hasn't given up a hit since the second inning. Just a couple of strikeouts. And that one off Burley's glove. Scrambles after it. Throw to first, not in time, and Laurie has a hit. Laurie's 2 for 3 after going hitless the first 2 games in this series. So a good start for the A's here in the 6th.
Well, they're going to check him. Was it off his glove? Because it sounded like, got him maybe in the wrist. Got him on the right wrist, because I heard kind of a splat, which is usually body. But it's right wrist, and it's not as throwing, so it should be okay. Yeah, listen to this. Yeah.
Mark.
Get ice tomorrow.
So here's Valencia, who is 0 for 2.
Well, check the right wrist, and Laurie hitting it hard. Stuck his glove out, and it came back. It almost came back like his sinker. But you'd think with a pitcher like Mark Burley, who throws off speed, if a hitter gets out in front, as Laurie did, to try to pull the outside pitch, it could come right back at you up the middle. Instead of going opposite field, staying back, which is hard to do.
So Valencia disagreeing with Brian O'Nora. 1-1 the count. Valencia 2 for 9 in the series. And now 1-2. So that's that changeup that the right-handed hitters have such a tough time laying off of.
And he's trying to pull it, which is the worst thing he could do. And he tried to do it in the first inning with the bases loaded. And he knows, everybody knows Burley. You try to pull his pitches, he'll eat you up.
Like that?
Yep.
Donaldson has it. Out at second. Double play.
That's exactly what Mark Burley wants. Outside off-speed pitch. You get out in front. All you can do is roll over, top-hand it. See the top hand roll over, and that's a tailor-made double play. Round the horn. Left Pennington at shortstop, strong arm, so it helps at second base to turn the double play. Started by his former teammate. How about that? Pennington and Donaldson teammates.
So Fegley rips the first one foul. Ground ball double play is a specialty for Burley. He's got hitters to hit into ground ball double plays 20 times now. Little pop up. This should do it. And it does. Pennington grabs it. So a quiet top of the sixth, bottom of the sixth coming up.
Great opportunity. Bases loaded. This squibbler back out. 1, 2, 3 double play. That was 2 outs. And he got out of the jam without allowing a run. And then Goins. How about this? A 3-run home run, hitting 8th in the lineup. That would make it 4-0. Jesse Chavez, though, settled down. He struck out 9. And as he has been dealing ever since that home run, he's given up nothing except the base hit, infield hit to Rivera. So Jesse Chavez doing a job, but the A's still trail 4-0. Had a chance early to blow the game open. Did not score, and now trail 4-0 in the series finale. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Bautista, Colabello, Navarro against Jesse Chavez here in the 6th inning. 9 strikeouts for Jesse, so that's the good news. Bad news is that 4 spot in the 2nd. First pitch to Bautista, bounced toward 3rd. Valencia has it. Fires across in time. So Valencia showing off a good arm.
Pepe mentioned George Bell is here, as we had showed him, works for the Blue Jays. 1985. They're celebrating. That's the time they won the Eastern Division Championship. Pat Yell, of course, the Hall of Famer. He's announced as well. But George Bell, Lloyd Mosby and Jesse Barfield. Pretty good outfield.
That's right.
He's giving away 3 bobbleheads this Sunday, I guess, in honor of that great outfield. And George Bell, I mentioned, is working for the Jays. A Rule 5 pickup from the Phillies, and what a pickup he was. Had a great career for the Jays. He was in our radio booth. I walked by. He was standing there, didn't even notice him, and he walked out. He said, "Hey, you walked right by me." I said, "Sorry, George. I was in a hurry." But he looks good, plays a lot of golf, and travels to the minor leagues. So one of the good outfielders, good hitters, staying in the organization and going to the minor leagues, talking baseball, and also here with the big league club. That should be a fun day on Sunday with a Yankees sellout crowd and honoring that '85 team that won. That's when they had the league championship, and that was it. Played somebody from the other division, 5-game series, and go to the World Series.
That was the first postseason appearance in Blue Jays team history, so that was a big deal. They've gone 5 times to the postseason: 85, 89, 91, 92, and 93.
Great. Yeah. Try to do it again in 15 for the first time since the 93, right?
That's right. Drew Pomeranz starts to throw. Left-handed.
Well, it's a pitch count for Jesse. 95, now 96 coming up.
Just missed inside. Of course, the Blue Jays came into baseball in his expansion team in 1977 with the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal.
And it was cold at Exhibition Stadium.
That was when the American League added 2 teams, the Mariners and the Blue Jays, and what it did at that time, Ray, was it gave the American League 14 teams and the National League had 12.
Right.
So it certainly changed the landscape of baseball with having a different amount of teams in each league. Reddick on the move into the corner, and it is foul. It's been a good franchise here since 1977. There's the home run leaders for the Blue Jays. Carlos Delgado, 336.
Hit his first at the Coliseum, first major league. I mean, he tore. He was a catcher.
That's right.
He threw the ball so hard, killed it. I mean, the pitchers put their hands up, say, "Take it easy," but they had to move him to first base. Carter, the big walk-off home run in the World Series. Next to Bill Mazeroski, the only 2 in the World Series with a home run. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run. That was the great call of Tom Cheeks.
So the count remains 3-2. But it's interesting, Ray, that split of 14 and 12, 14 teams in the American League, 12 in the National League, it stayed that way until 1993. So from 77 to 93, the American League had 2 more teams than the National League. Bounced up the middle. Simeon ranging near the bag at second and makes a nice play and throws a Colabello.
Well, the one thing I remember about Exhibition Stadium, in addition to being freezing cold outdoors in the turf, when you say Exhibition Stadium, they had major exhibitions there in the summertime. And I remember that.
As well as baseball.
Exactly. But they had this big exhibition. The A's were playing there, and it was an extra inning game. And I remember that they specifically said the game had to end at a certain time because a concert was going to take place. And if the game wasn't over, the concert took precedence, and they had to bring the stage out on the field and have the concert, and the game would be resumed later. Unfortunately, McGuire hit some home runs to make sure it did happen. But they had the stage, I remember, in right field, beyond the right field fence. They had the stage ready to be rolled in at a certain time, and baseball would stop because that's the contract they had for the exhibition.
So baseball
it was
not number 1.
No, not there anyway. Now when I came to those concerts.
1-1 to Navarro. Navarro down the left field line. Well, if you remember, Ray, you do remember, I do a little bit, but in 1976, the Giants almost came to Toronto.
Yes, they did.
I mean, they had a deal in place to become, believe it or not, the Toronto Giants.
That's
and
right.
it fell through. The next year, there was expansion. Reddick back near the wall, and he's got just enough room to make the catch. Side retired. So Jesse Chavez, another 3-up, 3-down inning. We're going to the 7th. Still 4-0 Blue Jays. Of 2010.
Yep.
That's Josh Donaldson. His first major league start came with the Athletics. He was the catcher.
Yep.
And in his second at bat, he homers off Dana Evelyn. And can you believe that it was right here?
That's right.
At the Rogers Center. And it was also his first big league hit. He's won that game 4-3. So a memory for Donaldson, no doubt.
That was a 4-game series against the Blue Jays. The A's won only one game. It was that Saturday game that Gio Gonzalez pitched.
That's right.
Josh Donaldson caught. And he went back. I mean, he really did nothing in the few at-bats he got with the Athletics, except that home run, his second at-bat, first hit. But he caught Gio. Gio won that game, and it's the only one the A's won in that 4-game series.
And that was 2010. And of course, Donaldson, 2012 was when, at least the second half, he really started to become the player that he is now.
Well, that's when Scott Sizemore blew out his knee.
Bare hand, throw. Got it. What a play. On cue, Donaldson grabbed it barehanded behind the bag at third and threw out Butler. And he had that play under control the whole time.
Well, playing off the turf, you got a true hop. Bare hand, strong arm, and stretched by Smoke, and he still gets Billy Butler. Probably the only runner. See how he caught the ball and spun the ball in his hand to get a good grip, too. That's amazing.
So here's Reddick, who takes a strike.
Watch him spin the baseball.
He
did.
See that? You're right. That's hard to do.
It's very hard because as a catcher, as a fielder, you catch the ball, and when you put your fingers, your hands in, you look for the seams to make a 4-seam. See if we can see it here. Catches it. See how he brought it down? Just rotated. That's a great shot, guys.
He's got a chance to make another great play, and it drops into the stands. He has gone into the stands this year.
If it was a perfect game by Estrada, he would have.
He's in there.
That was an amazing catch he made with Estrada having the perfect game. At the time, it was broken up, but he went into the seats. Made a miraculous catch a la Derek Jeter.
Donaldson playing at the shortstop spot with the shift on. And that one's lined toward left center. Revere got a good jump. Makes the play. So a well-struck ball by Reddick, but nothing to show for it.
You see how, though, he tried to hit the ball to the left side?
Yes, he did. He's done a really good job of that.
And he just stayed back and kind of guided the ball and hit it too hard, especially the ball slicing back. Watch this nice, easy swing and pitches outside. That's all intent right there. It's exactly what he's trying to do, and it was a great effort.
I think Reddick's, to me, he's really taken a step forward as far as just being a better all-around hitter this year. He has only struck out 41 times, Reddick, in 379 at-bats.
That's incredible.
And that is amazing.
But you talk to various scouts and they see all the shifts. And most of them will say, why does a hitter think he can go through the shift? Whenever they put 3 guys on the right side, why not try to do that? I mean, you're only going to hit, if you're great, 30 to 40 home runs. You're going to have a lot more opportunities to go the opposite way to get hits. So Reddick has done a very good job of it, and it's proven, especially that low number of strikeouts.
3-1 now to Coco Crisp, who has singled and struck out looking. 85 pitches for Burley. And now 3-2. Burley, as we've noted before, takes the least amount of time in between pitches thrown, and quite frankly, he pitches the way you should. Get it, have a plan, and go.
Change up.
Donaldson handles a tough hop, fires across the diamond in time. Side retired. 3 up, 3 down inning. We have reached the 7th inning stretch here at Rogers Center. It's the Blue Jays 4 and the A's nothing. Strongest fan photo to CSNCA Data Strong fan, and you just might see yourself in a broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Today's fan photo is from Salvador Flores from Oakland, straight out of O.co. Be back at the O.co on Tuesday night with the Dodgers in town. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. It's your oil change, tune-up, and brake expert as Drew Pomeranz makes his first appearance in this series. Takes over for Jesse Chavez. Pomeranz 4-4 with a 3.86 ERA. It's been a while for Drew Pomeranz. August 8th, which was Saturday the last time he pitched. So 104 pitches for Chavez. Second inning got him. He did strike out 9 in the 6 innings and retired 14 of the last 15.
And to your point, no walks. How about that? 9 strikeouts, no walks, and with the exception of the 1 inning, gives up 4 hits, 3 of those with 2 strikes in the second inning, 4 runs. Other than that, just 2 hits. Actually, those other 2 hits were infield hits by Revere. So Felix Lebrun threw 95 pitches last night, 6 1/3. You got Drew Pomeranz coming in today's game. Sonny Gray not starting. Jesse Chavez supposed to start tomorrow, started today.
So you're thinking about tomorrow night, aren't you?
Well, we have to be thinking about it if Sonny Gray cannot pitch. So
again, this is the decision of, do you go with a guy from the bullpen or do you bring somebody up? Arnold Leon pitched in game 1 of the series. Again, we don't know. We're just tossing out different scenarios. Flory backhands nicely, straightens up, throws, got him. Smoke is retired. Nice play by Brett Laurie. All right, tomorrow's pitching probables brought to you by Chevron. That's what we're talking about. We're just not sure. And that's why TBA is out there to be announced. When we find out, we'll let you know, and we may not find out till we get to the ballpark.
That's true. And again, we noted about Derek Norris and the problems he had taking a bus ride back to the hotel following the game last year. And now A's following today's game and take a bus ride through all the traffic to the airport, go through customs, fly to Baltimore, unfortunately a short flight, and then get in and see how Sonny Gray is at that point.
A's will face Ubaldo Jimenez for the Orioles tomorrow in the first of a 4-game series. Coverage starts at 3:30 with A's pregame live. And then pitch out to Camden Yards. Canna, nice play. He'll take it himself. 2 outs. One of our favorite ballparks, Camden Yards. The Orioles just finished that West Coast trip. They went 4-5 with the old-time West Coast trip. The 3 American League teams: Seattle, Oakland, and Anaheim. So my Arnold Leone theory is gone.
Unless he'd just thrown aside the day before he's going to start, which highly unlikely. Are you saying the Orioles aren't playing today?
They are off today.
Really, they were off last Thursday. They're off today.
That's right. A's, they played right through.
The A's gave them a day game on the getaway day on the Wednesday. Thursday off in Anaheim. They get a Thursday off today. And then they have a wraparound and will play a Monday night game, and the A's will fly 6 hours west.
They play that night. That's Aaron Sanchez throwing right hand. Well, West Coast teams get no favoritism on the schedule, and that's not just me saying that. I think you can ask about 7 teams, and they're going to say that.
Well, I know the skipper.
2 in the Bay Area.
Yeah, exactly. Well, both skippers have said and been adamant about that, and the travel. And when you're on west and heading east, now the A's, this is the last time the A's are in the Eastern time zone of the season. But they've made 4 cross-country trips to the Eastern time zone, whereas you mentioned Baltimore in the far east, different part of the country.
And you think
1 trip west, and that's it. One trip.
Right.
Up and down the coast west, and that's it. So they fly across the country, up and down the coast, and then back across the country, and they're done for the season.
Strike 3 called, and Drew Pomeranz goes 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout. We are moving to the A's. Some work to do for the A's. They trail 4-0. Black Bear Diner, feed your inner bear. That is right across the street from Rogers Center. There's a giant train museum.
So that's how you ride those small trains. You just straddle them.
Burley back to work.
Scottsdale has a great train park.
Yeah, I've been there.
And you have the bigger train, which is good, and then you have the real small one. And there's no way I could fit on the small.
You wouldn't even do that for your 3 awesome grandkids?
Well, I tried, but I said Matthew and Joseph before Madeline was born. I said I can't do it. I'm sorry, it just won't work.
I know exactly the train you're talking about, and it is made for children, not adults.
That one is.
You wouldn't be able to get out of there. You'd be stuck.
Oh, that's why I don't even attempt it.
Just wave to them as they go by. 2-2 to Marcus Semien, and he rips one to center for a hit. I see if the A's could get something going against Burley, who's been tough today. Hey, today at 5, Jim Kozimor hosts the Bay Area's best sports talk show presented by Comcast Business Class. It's Sports Talk Live. He's got Ray Ratto, always interesting. Tim Kawakami, always interesting. Steve Moskowitz, always interesting. And more, I'm sure, from Jim Kozimor. Here's Burns, who takes a strike. Burns 0 for 2 with a walk. Early at now 94 pitches, and he's usually in the 90s when it comes to pitch count. He's gone over 100 5 times, and this is his 23rd start. So the breakdown, he's been very consistent. The 6th inning helped him.
Yeah, that 7 in the 6th inning probably kept him in pitching the 8th.
The bullpen is ready if Burley gets into any more trouble. Oh, 2 to Burns. And that one's looped into right center, and Pilar dives, can't get it, and it rolls past him. We may have action. Here comes Semien. He's going to round and score. Burns is going to end up at third, and it's 4-1.
Not a smart play.
Nope.
Great if you make the play, not too smart if you miss it, which he did. And with a harder artificial surface and without Bautista backing up, I'd take the harder surface. It's an inside the park home run. Burns actually had to slow down. Bad mistake there. Look how the ball kicks up. It does not even get to the wall. Under normal circumstances, a different turf. This rolls to the wall, and we have an inside the park home run. Semien saw it get past Pilar. He knows he's going to score. And Billy Burns was kind of coasting as he hit second.
So Burley out after
August the 22nd. All are encouraged to wear your Star Wars costumes and enjoy the post-game show from the outfield grass. Though space is limited, purchase a special ticket package to receive an R2-D2 beanie. You can visit athletics.com/Star Wars for more information. It should be a good night. That's a week from Saturday when the A's back at the Coliseum. 22nd will be the 5th of 6 fireworks show. One more in September.
So Burley will sit back and watch. He goes 7+. 95 pitches. So
same as he's throwing 7 innings in Oakland. And his other started against the A's. That was 7 innings. This 7+. But A's again, opportunity. Runner at third. Put the ball in play. You get a run in.
Aaron Sanchez. His first pitch is a fastball and it's fouled back. Sanchez pitched on Tuesday night, 1 inning, 11 pitches. He's pitching out of the bullpen now after making 11 starts and then on the DL, and coming off the DL went to the bullpen, and he has been terrific out of the bullpen. This is his 10th relief appearance, and hitters are 2 for 27 against him as a reliever. And that's where he may stay the rest of this year. Probably not next year.
Now Mel Didier, who is a longtime baseball man, like that, his first to last 72 at bats, the extra base hit. Should have been a base hit, first and second, but Clark tried to make the spectacular play. Mel Didier was talking about watching Java Chamberlain let go by the Tigers, and Blue Jays have him in their AAA, and he may be a relief pitcher that comes up in September. And add a little bit of experience in the Blue Jays bullpen. How ironic would that be? The former Yankee facing the former team.
0-2 pitch in on Cannon. He rolls it foul. Laurie to follow. He's trying to get that second run in. The triple by Burns was his 6th of the year. And a good breaking ball and a good spoil job by Canna. Fought it off.
You're right. Curveball comes in. He said, "Got to protect," and just flipped it foul, and gets another opportunity.
Bounced over the head of Sanchez. That'll get a run home. Canna's retired. Burns comes in to score, and it's 4-2. So the A's have cut the deficit in half.
Well, that's what you have to do. That's situational hitting. The A's worked on that at the Coliseum after a brutal game in which they did not execute in those situations. And the Blue Jays with a 3-run lead, a runner at third, and Mark Canna fouled off the tough curveball, gets the high chopper over the pitcher's head. And while he did not get a hit, he at least gets the runner in. He might have brought the infield in for Laurie. Who knows? But you don't have to worry about it.
What a play by Smoke on the short hop, and beats Laurie to the bag. 2 away. Another hard hit ball by Laurie, but a good play by Smoke. Smoke is a very, very good defensive first baseman.
Well, and a good idea. Brett Laurie doing a good job going the other way. Instead of running through the bag, Smoke decided to go to the slide and avoid the collision with the train. Because I do not want to be on the receiving end of that if you go through the bag and Laurie hits you. You got to put him over the umpire. And Laurie runs hard, and you see the skipper giving him a pat on the back. And I mean, that he could be frustrated after he makes a good play, but he busted him down the line, and that in itself should show some teammates and some players how to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just the way you play the game. You run hard 90 feet, anything can happen.
Valencia, a quiet day today. He's hit into a couple of double plays, 0 for 3. Fastball a little bit inside, 2-0. So a couple of runs for the A's to make it 4-2. Fastball right on the outside corner. 98 miles an hour from Aaron Sanchez.
Easy.
It's an easy 98. Young man has a bright future. Comes right at him again with that good fastball. He's throwing it like if he needed a little extra, he could get to 100. Sellout crowd making lots of noise. Fastball fouled straight back. Sanchez from Barstow, California. She's 23 years old, turned 23 in July. Another 2-2 pitch to Valencia. Curveball got him. So he snapped off the breaking ball and he gets the strikeout. A's get 2 runs on 2 hits. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's now 4-2 Blue Jays.
Brought to you by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Well, it's been about 1 run, the second inning, all series. 4 runs today, a 3-run home run by Goins of Chavez, and what a great job Jesse did. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits other than the 4 in the second inning. For Billy Burns, a triple, a walk, RBI, run scored. Burley, of course, 7 strong innings, 7 hits. The Blue Jays offense this series, how about that? 14 of 18 total runs scored in the second inning in the 3-game series. So the A's trying to now to come back. They have one more chance, trailing 4-2 at bottom of the 8th inning.
So Pomeranz stays out there. And he faces Pennington, Revere, and Donaldson here in the bottom of the 8th.
Switch hitter Pennington gets to bat right-handed now after left-handed against Jesse Chavez. Pennington was saying, you got to learn how to not play every day. It makes a difference when you're accustomed to playing, and then all of a sudden you're in a not even a platoon, just an extra man. Fernando Rodriguez staying loose just in case.
Pennington loops one behind first. Laurie hustling out near the line makes a basket catch. One away here in the 8th inning. Pennington 0 for 3 in his first start in a Blue Jays uniform.
Well, the wide receiver going out, making a nice play, running to the end zone.
He could play a couple different positions in the football field.
And if you're waiting for him as he's got the ball running down the line full speed, I think I'd go for his feet. That's how they do it now, right? They
don't be a good safety. Linebacker. Maybe a two-way player, I think. Oh, and 1 to the leadoff man, Ben Revere. 2 for 3 today for Revere. A couple of singles. Fouled straight back. David Price will pitch for the Blue Jays tomorrow night here against the Yankees, so a good scene here at the ballpark, I would imagine. Price has pitched extremely well in his first couple starts for the Blue Jays.
Would you like to have those two back to back? Dickey with a knuckleball, Price with a blazing fastball.
David Price, 2 starts. 8 innings, 1 earned run, 7 innings, no earned runs in his first 2 appearances for the Blue Jays.
And evidently Price likes the popcorn that we like, so they delivered a lot to his locker. And plus he bought a whole bunch of scooters. I was down in the clubhouse. What all these scooters? And they were all bought by David Price. That's how they move around in these little, not even scooters, it's foot pedal, not even motorized. But if you have a big contract, you can make people happy.
And he knows he's got.
That's how they move around in these little, not even scooters, it's foot pedal, not even motorized. But if you have a big contract, you can make people happy.
And he knows he's got another one coming too.
What he's on right now is nothing by comparison as the premier left-handed starting pitcher on the market.
Swing and a miss, high fastball. Revere is retired, so 2 away here in the bottom of the 8th inning. First start in a Blue Jays uniform was August 3rd, and it was right here in this ballpark. And he had no problem with the Minnesota Twins. He's a premier guy.
And what did he say about the crowd? Pitching.
He said it was the best atmosphere he's ever pitched in front of.
Says a lot, and he is a big game pitcher. And Drew Palmer has retired 5 batters that he faced. No bubble bursting for the Blue Jays, unfortunately, in this series.
It's time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts.
I thought you said you were going to tell.
1989. For tickets, call 877. Tuesday for the Mark McGwire bobblehead giveaway driven by Chevrolet. Big Mac will be on hand as we honor his A's career. The all-time A's home run leader helped the A's reach 3 straight World Series from 1988 to 1990 and win the title in 1989. For tickets, call 877-493-BALL or visit athletics.com. I was thinking of 363 home runs, which is what he hit. As remember the Athletics. And he hits some long ones. He's trying to keep it at a 2-run deficit. Fernando Rodriguez in to pitch for the Athletics. The 1 home run ended a streak of about 47 innings without giving up a long ball.
Toward right. So 1 pitch. Rodriguez gets Donaldson. Donaldson 0 for 4 today. And we're going to the 9th. It's the Blue Jays 4 and the A's 2. This
To look back to the 2nd inning, Goins, a 3-run home run, high fastball, probably not even a strike, but Ryan Goins with a 3-run home run. That made it a 4-0 game. Jesse Chavez outstanding as he would give up a total of 6 hits, 4 coming in the 1 inning. So Goins playing shortstop today. He's been playing second until Whiskey at shortstop. So it looks like Tulo gets the day off and Goins steps in and hits a home run.
So when it's time for change, we'll show you Roberto Osuna, the young closer for the Blue Jays. First pitch to the pinch hitter. Vote is up and away. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. It's your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. 2.09 ERA, 11 saves for Osuna. 50th appearance, so he's been a workhorse. And outside, and it's 2-0. So vote hitting for Fegley.
Steven got 8 innings off. Happy to pinch hit, trying to get something started in the 9th inning.
There's a strike, 2-1. Fegley was 0 for 3 in the ball game. Butler to follow, and then Reddick here in the 9th inning. Fastball is popped up. Donaldson shading his eyes near the seats. Room. He's got it 1 out.
It's ball 3. Stephen Vogt took the first 2 pitches very nicely, and a strike and then a fastball elevated, but easy to say. This kid throws about 95 miles per hour, and it looks so good up there, and all he could do is get under it. And with the slicing action, as we saw on Tuesday night with the ball coming back as Martin jumped in the dugout, Josh Donaldson started to settle back towards the playing field, and the ball in his glove.
So 1 away for Butler, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. walked in the 4th inning. He's also hit a fly ball to center field and grounded out. Donaldson made a nice play in the 7th inning. So Butler 1 for 6 in the series. And this one's hit in the air, well to right. Batista's back. He's at the wall, and he makes the catch. Hangs up against the wall lightly, and that's the 2nd out.
And the way Billy Butler reacted is almost as if he thought he had gotten enough to drive it out to right field. But Batista, who missed one in the 1st inning, had it bang off his glove when he hit the wall. Able to corral this one and bang into the screen in front of the bullpen and hang on.
So 2 away for Reddick. First pitch to Reddick is hit to Batista, and he backs up, and it's over his head. Plays it off the wall. Reddick hustling for second, and he's got a double, and the A's are still alive. They'll get the tying run to the plate.
Batista froze and then misread it. And I don't know if he had broken back immediately would have caught it, but it was a line drive almost like center fielders, and they don't know whether to break in or break back. And low fastball hammered by Reddick. Batista and then back once that happened, definitely over his head. Threw his glove up just hoping, but no chance.
So Reddick gets his 20th double of the year, and here's Coco Crisp trying to keep the game going.
This is a time as a hitter you guess, load up, and say he's going to throw me heaters. Try to hit it. He's capable of hitting home runs.
And Coco takes a fastball on the outside corner at 95 miles an hour.
Well, not only was it thrown hard, but he painted it. And it sounded good at Navarro's catcher's mitt.
That one off the plate, off speed pitch.
Remember, he finished Ike Davis with a changeup on Tuesday night.
It was a nasty.
Oh, when you throw as hard as he does and then pull a string on a changeup down the middle, you're going to fool a lot of hitters.
Alberto Osuna, just 20 years old, closing for the Blue Jays. And that one is a strike outside corner. Didn't have to be. 1-2.
Such an effortless fastball that he throws, and that might have been on a check swing, Kate. I think it was, because the pitch looked like it was off the plate. But that's just an effortless 95 plus. He holds his hand behind the back. He kind of spreads his whole hand out before he puts his glove or ball the hand into the glove. See the right hand? Kind of unusual. He wants to throw a changeup. He wants to throw other than his 95, 97 fastball. How about that? I've never seen a guy do that. Maybe trying to keep the air on it to keep his hand dry before he grips the baseball.
Reddick, the runner at second. 1-2 pitch and a good swing by Coco. Went with a fastball. Coco fouls it to the screen.
Yeah, Navarro is a veteran catcher, and all this shaking, and it might have been to the point he just emphatically kept putting the same sign down, because with the kid shaking as much as he did, you'd think he'd want to go to something off speed, but he did throw the fastball. He wants a strikeout. He wants to hear this crowd react with a strikeout.
One-two pitch, just missed at 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, stayed in the outside corner. If Coco is going to do anything, it's going to have to be to the outside field, and the outfield shading him to left field. Playing shallow and to the left side. They figure fastballs away, they have to go that direction. Not going to give him a chance to pull the ball in the seats.
2-2 pitch, driven right center. Batista gets over there, reaches up, makes the catch, and that's the ball game. And the Blue Jays sweep the Athletics. And to say the Blue Jays are hot would be an understatement. They have won 11 straight, and they have won 14 out of their last 15 as they hold on to first place in the AL East. Burley gets his 13th win. Osuna gets the same. It took 2 hours and 25 minutes. A sellout crowd today at Rogers Center, 46,902. So the final score, the Blue Jays 4 and the Athletics 2. You've been watching A's Baseball on CSN California.